In this video, I'm going to go over installing a PVR on an Intel NUC using an HDHomeRun Extend, and I'll be using MythTV backend for the recording and Kodi or XBMC for the front end. To get started, I've used UNetBootin to put an installer of Lubuntu 14.04 on a USB drive, and I'll stick it in the back of my Intel NUC. I already have Ubuntu installed on this machine, but this is a new build, so we're going to erase this. So next I'll restart the machine and I'll hold down F10. Okay, so now we have the boot selection up. I'll choose the USB SanDisk Extreme drive. This is a USB 3.0 flash drive, so it should be pretty fast. And then I'll choose Install Ubuntu. I'm going to choose English for my language. I'm not going to configure the networking right now. Just click continue on this screen. I'm going to say erase Ubuntu and reinstall. My time zone is central, so I'll choose that. My keyboard layout is English. And then I'll create an account. And I'm going to tell this to log in automatically because we'll be making kind of a PVR appliance. I don't want to have to log in each time. Okay, now the install is done, I'll hit restart. Okay, so now we have a base install. We do want to update this because the distribution you get isn't always the most current. Before we do that, I don't really want to use LibreOffice. So I'm going to open up the Ubuntu Software Center, and I'm going to choose Installed Office, and I'm just going to remove these. The updater will want to download new versions of these, and it takes a long time, and I really don't want them. If you want these, you can leave them on. And you can delete other software if you feel necessary. Okay, next we're going to open up the terminal. So we want to click up here on the dash and just type in terminal. And then what we want to do is we want to right click on that and say lock to launcher, because we'll be using this quite a bit. You can ignore this language message in the background. Okay. Now I want to point out that I have not connected my Ethernet cable or connected to wireless yet because I didn't want it to automatically start updating the packages. But now I'm ready to update, so I'm going to plug in the Ethernet. That'll take a second to initialize. So now we're ready to update the system. So this Intel NUC has an SSD, so before I update the system I actually want to turn on trim. If you have a Samsung or Intel drive, this is actually done automatically by the system, but this has an OCC Vertex in it. It used to have a Samsung, but I swapped it recently. So I'm going to say sudo gedit /etc/fstab. And in here you'll see where it says errors equals remount. You want to type in discard and no A time. Discard will enable trim. No A time will keep it from writing access times to when you access a file. You can turn no A time on if you have a rotational drive and get a little bit of increased performance too. So I'll save this. This won't take effect until I reboot, but I'm not going to do that right now. So, okay, to start with our updating, we're going to say sudo aptget update. Now while we're waiting for this to complete, we can go to our dash again and type in lock, and this will bring up the brightness and lock control panel. And we can tell this to never turn off the screen, do not lock, and don't require password when waking from suspend. Because we're building kind of an appliance, we don't really want these features turned on. We can also go into the power setting and make sure it's set for don't suspend. Okay, so the last command, the aptget update, is done. So now when I say sudo aptget dist upgrade, it says, do you want to continue? We'll say yes, and now this will download the latest packages. Okay, so the update has completed, so now I'll reboot the machine. I'll say sudo reboot. And this will make sure all the latest packages are loaded. Okay, the machine is rebooted, so I'll open up a terminal. And now we need to set up the XBMC or Kodi PPA, which is a personal package archive. So to do that, we'll type in sudo apt add repository PPA : team dash XBMC / PPA. Now that the PPA is installed, we need to do another update. So we'll say sudo apt-get update. Now we need to install the packages that we're going to install to set up this PVR. So we'll say sudo apt-get install MySQL-server MythTV backend MythTV database Kodi Kodi-PVR-MythTV. We'll also do open SSH server. And you can also install HDHomeRun config if you need to. Okay, so now it's asking us to set a MySQL root password. So you can set that to whatever you want. You won't need that directly for the config of MythTV, but you want to keep it in case you need to do any diagnostics later. This is asking if we want to set up MythTV to be used by other computers, and we want to say yes. Okay, now before we set up MythTV, we'll need to add our username to a couple of groups. So we'll say sudo usermod a capital G MythTV, and then your name. Now we'll push the up arrow to get to the last command we used, and we also need to change it to dial out if we're going to use a pulsate USB to HDMI-CEC adapter. And I'll talk about that a little later. Okay, now we'll need to log out to load these groups. And we'll log right back in. Okay, before we open up the MythTV setup, we need to find out the MythTV database password. So we're going to say less /etc /MythTV and then config.xml, and you'll see this password in here. We need to record this because we'll have to enter that in the setup for MythTV. Okay, we can hit Q to exit out of this. Now we're going to want to type in MythTV setup. We're going to choose our country and language. Now we're going to go down here to database server settings, password, and we're going to change that to the password that we got out of the system. Then we'll go next and finish. And then now this will load up the MythTV backend. So first thing we need to do is go into General. and go up to the IPv4 address, and it has our local loopback address. If you just hit the right arrow, it will pull up your Ethernet or Wi-Fi address. And then we need to go down to the master back end and change this IP address. Now, unfortunately, you actually have to type this one in. But you know what the address is because it's up top there. And then we'll just click next through the rest of these screens until we're finished. Next, we'll go to capture cards. We'll say new capture card. We'll choose card type, HDHomeRun tuner. And then we'll just I'll push the arrow key to the side on this available devices, and it will pull up one of our tuners. You want to start with the one that says -0. Then I'm going to go here to recording options, and since I'm going to be using the transcode feature of this tuner, I want to set max recordings to 1. I'll go finish. Then I'll set up a second tuner, same way. Except for this time I'll use the -1. You can see it says already in use on the other one. Then I'll go to recording options again, change this to 1. We're done with the capture cards. We'll go to video sources. We'll create a new source. We'll give this a name of source 1. You can name it whatever you want. But I'm going to change my listings grabber to EIT. This will pull the listings off the air. We're done with video sources. We'll go to input connections, and we'll see our 2 HDHomeRun tuners here. We'll start at the first one. The display name, I'll type in input 1. Video source, I'll choose source 1. Then we'll go to scan for channels. I'm going to go down here to the scanning range. You can scan the whole range, but I know the channels in my area, the ones I want, are between 5 and 23. So I'm going to change this to 5 and 23. And now this will scan for channels. Okay, so I'm going to insert all the channels. Now, I also found an MPEG channel. You can insert this on your system. I know this is an audio-only channel that I don't care about, so I'll tell it to ignore it. You can always go back and change these later. Now I'll finish on this page. You want to make sure your starting channel is set up. It should be set up automatically. I'll go to next and finish. Now I'll go to the second tuner. I'll name this input 2. I'll change the video source, but I don't need to scan for channels again. This completes the basic setup from the Myth backend. You can go into the channel editor and change the names or storage directories. There are a lot of different settings, but I'm just doing a basic setup here. Once you get started, you can play around with it. So I'll hit escape to get out of this. It'll say, do you want to start your MythTV backend? I'll say yes, and then you type in your password. And it'll ask if you want to run the Mythfill database, and you also say yes there. Okay, so we have the database set up with the Myth backend. Next we'll start Kodi. So we'll type in KODI. Now to refresh, Kodi used to be called XBMC. They changed the name of it. Okay, so to set up our front end in Kodi, we'll go to System and Settings. And we'll go down here to Add-ons. We'll go to Disabled Add-ons, and we'll see the Myth PVR client. We'll go into that. You can go to Configure. The backender IP address, we'll change this to the IP of the machine. This is what you entered in on the General tab. The The rest of these settings should be able to stay the same. Then we'll want to enable the plugin. We'll exit out of here, we'll go to Live TV, and we'll hit Enabled here. Now this will take a while to get set up here. I'm going to go ahead and reboot the system. I'm going to open up a terminal again and open up Kodi. Looks like our PVR client got disabled, so I'll re-enable it. Okay, now we'll see TV here as an option. If we go to EPG, we'll see the programming guide. It can take a second for the programming guide to be populated, so I'll start with go through some channels here. So now I'm not getting any audio, so let's fix that. We'll exit out of Kodi. We'll go up to the little speaker in the upper right hand corner and go to sound settings. This is a weird little bug I found. You'll see the sound play through HDMI DisplayPort is enabled, but we'll just click that again and you can test the sound just to make sure.
Left, front, right.
And it is working. Even though it's selected, you have to reselect it for some reason. So we'll go back in now to Kodi. And we see part of our programming guide is populated. This will populate as you go through the channels. Because now I don't have experience using Schedules Direct or any of those, but I'm sure you could figure that out if you wanted to use those features. So we can go through these channels.
She's on horses.
So I'm scrolling up and down and opening these. If I hit enter again, it'll show full screen, and it looks very good. Now you can do things like hit the space bar to pause it and resume. There are lots of different options you can look up. Once you know, I'm just getting you started, then you can look and figure out how to really use this software. So now that we have this working, we'll exit out. And we want to make sort of an appliance with this. So we want to have it boot into Kodi. So to do that, we'll go to the gear up here and log out. Now we're on the login screen, and we'll choose Kodi. And type our password in. Okay, we have Kodi loaded up. So now what we can do is we can restart the machine. And it will start up into Kodi. Now we don't see the TV here yet because it takes a while for MythTV to get started. There it goes. So that's the basic of setting up MythTV backend with a Kodi front end, but we'll take it one step further here. And we'll exit out of Kodi. We'll log back into our Lubuntu desktop. We'll open up a terminal. And we'll say sudo apt-get install Mythweb. And this will set up a web front end for MythTV. It's going to say, would you like to password protect your Mythweb? I'm going to say no, I have this behind a firewall. And it says, will you be using your web server exclusively for Mythweb? And I'm going to say yes there. Okay, so now we have Mythweb set up, so we should be able to go into a web browser and type our IP address in. And we'll see the Mythweb interface. Now the nice thing about this is you can use this interface on the machine itself, but it really comes into play where you can open it up on a separate machine or an iPad or an iPhone or an Android device, and you can schedule programming. So for instance, we'll click on listings here and we'll see this programming going on. Here's a PGA Tour Golf. We can say record this one showing, update recording settings. If we look at our recording schedule, we'll see it's recording now. We can also click backend status to see that we have one tuner is recording a show, the other one is not. We can go under upcoming recordings and say delete, and we'll delete this recording. So this is kind of a handy feature to have. Another thing we need to look at is transcoding capabilities of the HDHomeRun. Right now it's set up to not transcode. To set up transcoding, we'll actually have to go into the HDHomeRun web interface. So we need to figure out the IP address of the HDHomeRun. So if we type in HDHomeRun config and help, this will give us a little bit of help on what we need to type in. We'll type in HDHomeRun discover, and then this will tell us our HDHomeRun device and the IP address. So I'm going to copy this. We'll go back into our web browser, paste this into the address bar, and now we've opened up our HDHomeRun web interface, and we want to go to this transcode configuration and choose the default transcode profile. I kind of like this Internet 540. I think it has a pretty good quality, but the files are about 1/6 of the size in my experience than the native format. So the HDHomeRun, in my area at least, will record the files as MPEG-2 native format. With the HDHomeRun Extend, this will transcode it to an MPEG-4 at this is 540p. Now if you're doing something with mobile, you might want to drop it down to one of the smaller ones. You can go down to 240p. That loses a lot of quality, but if you want to watch it on a phone or something, you want that as your default profile. So I'm going to set this to 540, and then we can close out of here. Now next time we record something, it will record at that lower resolution. So now that we have all the setup done, I can go back and log out, change my default login back to Kodi, and log back in. Now this is ready to be plugged into a TV and used as sort of a PVR appliance. And my next part of the video will be showing how to set up this Pulse 8 adapter, and this will allow us to control the Kodi software with the TV remote over HDMI-CEC, which you find a lot on smart TVs. Because what I'm using right here is just a monitor. I'm going to demonstrate this on an actual TV. So stay tuned. Okay, so what I have here is the Intel NUC. I have the Pulse 8 USB-C HDMI-CEC adapter. I have the HDMI coming out of the Intel NUC into the device on the PC side, and the TV is going to an HDMI cable to the TV. I have USB going to USB into Intel NUC. And then I have HDMI-CEC compatible TV, which I'll turn on. And now I'll turn on the Intel NUC. And I plug this into HDMI 1. And you'll see the Pulse 8 adapter comes up here in the bottom. And the network is set up, and now we can go into the electronic programming guide. We're still recording the show, Rawhide.
Tomorrow is really no smart. You don't get up there and pick up that room and do it right now so you won't be late to school. Go on. I think I like the way the little hairy one talked to you. Do you figure that was Marsh?
So that's the basic for setting up a PVR with an Intel NUC using MythTV backend and Kodi and an HDHomeRun Extend. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. And if you want to see more videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.